How well do you know your tires? I mean, I know you drive on them every day, but did you know that in some cases your tires need some miles on them to improve performance? We're going to explain how that all even makes sense as we answer your car-related questions. We've got Mike Quincy here from Consumer Reports with us. He's talking tires, rolling resistance, and overall car performance, but you can text him any of your car-related questions. Here's how you do it. You text that number 336-379-5775. You can get your question answered in real time. All right, so we're talking about tires and we're talking about something I have never even heard of this before. What is rolling resistance?
Well, it sounds almost like a physics lesson, and it basically, the definition is rolling resistance is the energy it takes to rotate the tires. It's affected by the friction caused when the tire surface meets the road. You know, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. No one's going to be quizzed on this. Basically, you need to know that if you have a better rolling resistance tires, you're going to save money because you're going to save gas.
Okay, so we should look for something like that when we go buy a tire. I usually go, what's the middle of the road price and does it match my specs on the car? But I need to ask this too. So does getting the more expensive tire with rolling resistance make a difference?
It can make a difference because in Consumer Reports testing, we found that some of the more expensive tires have done well in our ratings. So you're going to actually save money down the road if you buy a tire with better rolling resistance, because you're going to be saving all this money. I guess there's a lot of factors that go into buying tires. I mean, you're talking about handling, dry and wet braking, how long they're going to last. Rolling resistance should always kind of be the one that puts you over the edge to go from one tire to another. And it's all in Consumer Reports websites. We have a ton of information on tires.
Okay, so when I'm looking at a tire, it will say rolling resistance on there.
It's either going to say on the sidewall, or that is something that you can ask the tire salesperson. You can also show up with the Consumer Reports Tire Report test to say, these are the ones I want because they have lower rolling resistance.
Okay, so do you think we should sacrifice quality in other areas to get the higher rolling resistance?
With any tire, you have to make some compromises. You might get a compromise with a harsher ride, but more grip. You might get better braking, but they won't last as long. So you really have to figure out what is best for you, the kind of car you have. A lot of times cars come with very specific tires, and it's usually good to go with sort of the original equipment specifications that came with your car when you bought it new.
Okay, yeah, and you should look at that, right? As for sure, before you buy a tire, you want to make sure that it's hitting all of the parameters that your original tire hit. How does, go ahead.
Oh, exactly. I mean, when you go to replace your tires, you can say to the tire salespeople, you know, I always thought these tires were noisy. What do you have that can be a little bit quieter? Or I want something to improve the ride. Or you just say, you know, I want tires that are going to maximize fuel economy. Because really, you can slice and dice all of these different variations with your tires when you go to replace them.
All right, and rolling resistance does maximize your fuel economy.
Absolutely. Over the lifespan of your tires, lower rolling resistance can save a few $100s over the life. I mean, it really will add up.
Okay. So how does aging of your tires impact the rolling resistance?
Well, actually, when your tires are brand new, they have a higher rolling resistance because there's so much tread in them, and they're probably a bit softer. Over time, the tires will get smoothed out, and your rolling resistance will actually improve. So, you know, that's something to consider. But there's definitely a lifespan to the tires. There definitely gets the time when you need to replace them.
All right, and let's talk about that right away then. When is the time to replace your tires?
Well, from a scientific standpoint, it's when you're seeing 4/32 of an inch, which is, how do you explain that on television? What you do is you take a quarter and you put it in one of the tread depths, and if you can see the top of George Washington's head, it's time to replace the tires.
Okay, gotcha. And some people would say, well, I only check my tires once every year or something like that because they should last all year. But that's not really what we should be going with, a yearly check.
No, absolutely not. In fact, probably every week you should test your tire's pressure. The tire pressure is a big deal when it comes to your safety and performance of your car. There's a placard inside your door jamb that says what the recommended pounds per square inch should be. You also need to inspect the sidewalls, any indications of dry rot or cracks or any kind of bulges. That's an indication that you also should be thinking about replacing your tires.
And I always wonder, like, when you hit something, right? You've got like some kind of something wrong with your tire. Is it okay to just patch your tire, or do you necessarily have to get a new tire every time something like that happens?
It really depends on the extent of the damage. If you want to be safe, you replace the tires. But that also can open up a whole new kettle of worms, because some cars like Subarus that have standard all-wheel drive, they recommend you replace all the tires at once. But that's kind of an extreme situation. But you need to definitely get a recommendation from a tire installation expert.
Okay. All right. And speaking of expert, he's here to answer your questions. We are getting a few in already. So we'll be answering those questions and much more coming back right after this.